Hi, brothers and sisters. Thanks for taking a few minutes to check in with this video today. This last Lord's Day on Sunday morning, we looked at Genesis chapter 21, the end of the chapter, where we see Abraham really being restored in a fresh way, in a new way, to his faith, to his confidence in God. It's not that he didn't have faith before the incidents that we read of there at the end of the chapter, but as we have seen, his faith was weak. His faith struggled through the years. And yet, God, because of his love, because of his faithfulness and his power, continually was working with Abraham and working in Abraham to strengthen his faith. And so, as chapter 21 ends with word that Abraham is calling on the name of the Lord, that's expressing this reality that his faith has been renewed, it's been re strengthened, and he's settling down in his sojournings. He's trusting the Lord, and he's not looking to his circumstances to find his security and to find his hope, but rather he's finding his hope in the Lord. And this is all going to be critically important as the greatest test that he has yet to face is going to happen in Genesis 22 when he's called by God to offer up his own son, Isaac. And we're going to be looking at that this coming Lord's Day. But this reality of dwelling with God and finding our hope in Him alone and settling down in trusting Him is something we need to continually be encouraged in, isn't it? As we are so often restless, just like Abraham, we see our circumstances and difficulties, challenges. We see the evil of the world around us, and we're so prone to try to figure out our own solutions and try to figure out ways to better our situation when the Lord most fundamentally calls us to trust Him, calls us to make sure that our heart is quiet and still before Him. One of the places in Scripture that we see this spoken of is in Psalm 37. And it's a rather long psalm. I'm not going to read the whole psalm, but I do want to read a few of the opening verses, beginning in verse 1, as David is encouraging his own soul and he's encouraging God's people to be trusting the Lord, to be seeking Him. And so listen to how he begins Psalm 37. I'll start in verse 1. He says, "Fret not yourself because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light and your justice as the noonday." He says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices." And that's the heart of the exhortation throughout this psalm. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. And in that stillness of soul before the Lord, which is really expressing faith in Him, what he goes on to continually and repeatedly say is to be faithful and to be diligent in the circumstances that God has put us, that we would be trusting Him and be faithful, looking to Him for strength, looking to Him for provision, even as Abraham was learning to do. So I want to encourage you in those ways, in these days in which we live, that are hard in general ways because of the evil in the world in which we live. And I know for each one of us, there are unique dynamics of what is hard and what is difficult and what presses us to the limit. And yet God is always faithful. And as He sustained and encouraged and strengthened and provided for Abraham, so He will do for His people continually, and to lay hold of His promises to that end. So myself and the other pastor elders, we continue to pray for you as we know that you're praying for us and praying for God's work among us at River City, and we trust that you will indeed be strengthened in faith. Please make note of the various announcements that are with this newsletter. As always, a number of items to be aware of. We're looking forward to the Destin family being with us on August 15th. Willio is going to be preaching that morning, and then that evening we're going to have a special gathering at our facilities to hear a fuller report of how things are going for them in the very unique, very hard ministry that the Lord has called them to in Haiti, and yet wonderful ways that God is working and wonderful ways God is providing. So that's going to happen on August 15th. Be sure and make note of that date. This coming Sunday evening, we're going to be having our community groups, so be aware of the information regarding that and strive to be a part of those great opportunities to be together. And then the week following, we'll be continuing with our Equipping Hour series that we're doing on Sunday evenings on Zoom, reading through the book on corporate worship. There's other items of information as well, other events and conferences coming up. Please make note of those. And Lord willing, we'll see you this Sunday as we continue to walk with Abraham in Genesis chapter 22. So until then, richest blessings, and we'll see you again. Bye bye.